Yeah, that's it.
All right.
What am I counting? Stop video.
You got camera on top of it, that's right.
Hmm?
There's camera on top, that's right.
Oh, yeah, turn the camera in. Super internal.
Set the ceiling, hold on.
Okay. Yeah. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Can you hear me? Anyone can hear me outside? Mr. Mose, you hear me?
I can hear you well.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Huh?
It's all in your hand, President Stokes. Go ahead and call it order. Call it order. Okay. Call it order. You want to come back up here so you want?
Good morning.
Morning.
We will now call this meeting to order of the Eastern North Carolina Civic Group for September the 13th, in the year of our Lord 2025. The Eastern North Carolina Civic Group has gone through a major loss of our leaders. Within a year, we have lost Mr. James Sears, and just last week, we funeralized our former presidents, both were former presidents, Mayor Fred Yates. We have lost a lot of wisdom and a lot of knowledge. So at this time, we're going to take a moment of silence on behalf of Mayor Fred Yates. Amen. If you knew Mayor Yates, if he got excited, he would, whoa! Give you that yell. And we certainly enjoyed him when we would have our executive meetings online. As we would close, we would say, good night, and he would, good night, John Boy. So to Mayor Yates, we say, good night, John Boy. Next on our agenda, we have our first vice president from Berkeley County, Carl Baum, will give us the welcome.
Good morning again to everyone. I'd like to say thank you all for taking out of your busy schedule to be with us today. We welcome you to this meeting. We welcome you to all our meetings. We have a Zoom link, plus we meet in person. So today we're having an in-person plus Zoom. So we just say welcome and thank you all for taking out your busy schedule, because I know a lot is going on this weekend. And we just say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay.
And welcome. Deacon Weston and former Commissioner Ron Weston, will you come and lead us in or give us some remarks? And or do we want him to do the invocation also?
Yes.
Yes. Do the invocation also.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Let us pray. Heavenly Father and eternal God, Lord, we thank you for every blessing, Father. We thank you for this opportunity to come together, Lord God, to do all that we can do, Lord God, to bring our people together, to bring this world together, Lord God, to do all things that might be pleasing in your sight. Father, you've given us an opportunity, but it's up to us to take advantages in terms of how we spread your good word, Lord God, among not only people that we know and we love, but in this world. So bless this opportunity, Lord God. Bless this effort and just keep us, Lord God, in your care. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Just a few very, very brief words. Talk about Mayor Yates. Mayor Yates was a very special person to me. I know when I was running for the House and I had an opponent and he called the opponent and me together and he says, look, you're not leaving here until you guys work it out. Because only one of you is going to. And he was just a special guy. So much knowledge and so willing to share with you, you know. Many times he'd take me out to places and we grab lunch together and, you know, just have some very, very good conversation. Man, real talk. And I miss him. And I'm sure he's in a much better place. So a lot of you know that you know, I've served this community for many, many years as county commissioner and did not run for re-election. It's a good thing I didn't, because after 12 years had enough. Maybe it's time for somebody else. However, I just accepted a position last month. Governor Stein put me on the Rural Infrastructure Authority. This is important to know. The reason I accepted this, because there are over $200 million that go through this authority for Rural 1, Tier 1, and Tier 2 counties. CDBG grants, demolition grants, building reuse grants, downtown revitalization, all the economic development grants, prosperity zones, the whole works. Berkeley County, since 2014, has only applied for 3, totaling less than $150,000. And many of the other counties around us are getting millions of dollars. A lot of these grants are not even matching grants, right? But so people say, well, why don't small counties, since there are 4 Tier 1 and Tier 2, apply? Because they don't understand the process. They don't have the administrative staff. They don't have the, you know, press expertise to do it. So the reason I accepted this, because it's an opportunity to change that, to help Tier 1 and Tier 2 counties understand the process and make sure that they get what's entitled to all of us. And that's the reason that the governor asked me to be a part of this. You know, I know a lot of the folks in this area served on the county commissioner board and state board for many, many years. So I take it as an opportunity to make sure that the Tier 1 and 2 counties really get the funds that are out there and available to them. Literally hundreds of millions of dollars. And so that's going to be my aim, and I hope you'll work with me and hold me accountable for doing just what I said I'd do.
Thank you so much.
Ms. West, I want to ask you one question.
Yes,
With
sir.
that grant that money you're talking about, is that something that's gonna the county, the city and the county had to apply for, right?
Yeah, it could be municipalities, you know, and it could be the county itself,
Okay.
right? And that could be some specific, partnership between county and towns. This is how it works in a lot of counties. I'll give you an example for Pitt County. Pitt County, we're part of the COG, right, which is 5 counties. Now, Pitt gets, tens of millions of dollars every year because they have the staff, right, and experience who can do the due diligence, fill out the grant application, make sure that it's clear what you're asking for, be able to justify it. But how can a little place like Kelford or Roxbury or even Windsor do that? And they don't have the staff, and sometimes don't have the knowledge base, right, to do it. So my first thing is to try to work through the COG. This is a Mideast Commission that covers Berkeley County, Martin County, Pitt County, Beaufort County, and Hertford County. They have staff, so we're going to try to get an additional staff to come out and actually help train local administrators in those towns, whether it's the mayor, whether it's the town secretary, whatever. This is not really that hard once somebody tells you and gives you some examples of how to do it, right? And then help coach them through it. That's what a COG is supposed to be doing, right? Now, enough staffing. So the main thing is to try to get them some support so they can go out in the field rather than having people necessarily not get that. So that's what it's not. That's gonna be the first step. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Weston, I heard you name those counties.
Yeah.
You didn't name every
Well,
county?
every county is in a cog, right?
Okay.
Yeah, but our cog that Bertie's in is only 5 counties, right? And that, again, that's, Beaufort County, Pitt County, Bertie County, Martin County, and Hertford County, right? Those are the 5 in our cog out of the Mideast. Washington County is, where's their cog? It's, I'm not sure. Tracy Johnson, I wouldn't know what that county is. I'm not sure, but I think there are 4 or 5 counties in that cog as well. There are probably those in the northeast because we go, this portion of the state, so we would probably go northeast.
And I'll talk to you later, but this is good news for us to hear that we got a local person that we can call, that we can submit an application to, and then give him a call. We just have to make sure that our organizations, our municipalities and county boards know. And if they know that we know, then we can encourage them to apply for some of this.
And when I say COGS, I probably should use that short speech. It's Council of Governments. Every county in the state is a part of a Council of Government. There are generally 3 to 5 counties in that Council of Government. Albemarle Commission represents 10 counties. There you go. That's you probably in the Albemarle. Albemarle? Yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing in the chat.
Yeah. Council of Government is what they are.
Thank you for that information. And this is what the civic group is all about. We hear this information, we now take this information back to our home counties and ask about it. Sometimes all you need to do is ask about it. And somebody you say, oh yeah, I know about it. Well, why haven't we been getting this money? What have we applied for in the past? All right, so next on the agenda, thank you so much, Brother Bonds and Mr. Weston, for the welcome to Bertie County. As I look over our list for roll call, I see Bertie, Edgecombe, Gates, Martin, Northampton, and Washington. Is there someone on that is from another county? And tell us what county you represent.
Ms. Moore, what county you from?
I'm here on behalf of Dr. Portia Pope with the.
What county?
I'm here on behalf of Portia Pope and the state NTD test.
Oh, okay. She's here for our program. She got some information with us. Okay, thank you.
How about Bob?
Mr. Barber. Will you mute yourself and tell us where you're from? Derek Barber?
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland,
Are you from Baltimore?
and I was invited. Yes, I was invited by my uncle, Moses Matthews.
Okay. We also have Miss Sharita Brown. She's with us. Roy Gray, Marion Bird. Miss Bird, where you from?
It's Herb Gates.
Gates, okay. And then we got Miss Mavis. So, okay.
All right, but we do not have a quorum, but this meeting today is for information. And we didn't have any real business items on, so we're going to move ahead with our meeting today. The meeting today is based on healthcare. That is a subject that needs to be discussed in Eastern North Carolina due to the cuts that the Trump bill, the pain that it is going to be causing in our community, we felt like it was so important for us, number one, to see how can we improve healthcare. And then we got Dr. Fuller here that is going to assist us and give us information on things that we can do to improve our healthcare. And then we got Dawn Mack, who I'm so glad to see her walk in, that's going to be discussing with us some of the things that's going to be happening with Medicare and Medicaid. And then we have Stephanie Page, who is going to also fill us in with what her organization is saying will be happening with these cuts. So folks, we got to get ready for this. You got to get ready for this. And today, hopefully you will hear information that you would then take back to your county. Because what's that saying? If one can get 1,000, then 10 can get 10,000. So this is the method that we're going to be using to get the word out that we can avoid. If we take care of our bodies, we can avoid the pain that's going to come with those cuts. So at this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Matthews if he would introduce our speaker, Dr. Donald Fuller. Mr. Matthews?
Yes, can everyone hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yes.
Well, good morning, everyone. The president just talked about the purpose in terms of health. There's nothing we can do that would be more effective in getting our community members of our families healthy. I had the opportunity to run into Dr. Fuller back in late this year, and it had a profound impact on what I feel like my day-to-day practice. So without any other input, I want to introduce a man of faith, a man that was a graduate of North Carolina University and Tuskegee Veterinary School. He's a father, a grandfather, and a servant to our communities. So I'd like to present to you Dr. Donald Fuller.
Mr. Matthews, can you see our screen?
I can see your screen, and I want to make sure that put something in the chat. Make sure that Dr. Fuller is close enough to the mic so that everyone can hear clearly.
Okay. So you do see our screen?
Yes.
Well, we'll get a little bit closer so he can hear you.
Mr. Stokes, can you get him over so I can have the screen and can you come over this further toward the
You want to
screen?
come that way a little bit?
Yeah, come over this way so I can yeah, so I can show the screen and him. Yeah,
Can you
okay.
see him here?
Right, yeah, that's good.
Can you see him there? Can you see him?
Oh,
You'll need to watch this with me, right?
right.
Okay. This is all Hollywood, folks.
Right.
That's Mr. Matthews.
Are you here there, Mr. Matthews? Mr. Matthews, unmute yourself. Can you hear us?
I can hear you very clearly.
Okay.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. The Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. I'm the great grandson of a Baptist preacher, so I have to kind of do what due credit is due. Mr. Matthews and I met back in May down in Rockingham at a farmers meeting. And we had a good conversation about life and things, and then I was a presenter for the farmers meeting on healthcare. I'm a veterinary doctor by profession, semi-retired. I'm looking for a portion of the scriptures where there's a man supposed to retire. If somebody back can help me today. I can't find anything in the scripture where a man's supposed to retire. So I was bred, born, raised on a tobacco cow, hog, pig farm. My dad made me castrate the first pig when I was 9 years old. So I guess that was my humble beginning as a veterinary doctor. I was fortunate enough to go off to school, attend A&T State University undergrad in animal science. Left there and went to Tuskegee Institute, now Tuskegee University in veterinary medicine in 1974. Graduated in 1978. Came home, set up a veterinary practice for preventive care, health care, just for the animals. And the first 2, 3, 4 years, you know, as a young doctor in any town, if you've seen it in the Western pictures, somebody had to vouch for the young doctor to say, hey, he's qualified, he can do it. But once they found out I had long arms, and the nickname of a veterinarian that delivers calves is long arm of the law. So when those farmers found out I would come snow, sleet, rain, shine, Saturday, Sunday, whenever, cow having distress, they spread the word from one farmer to the other. And that's how they've established a practice in Yanceyville, North Carolina. Been there since 1978, semi-retired in 2020, and moved on through with my family, 5 grandkids. There's no other blessing than your grandchildren. So I hope all of you, somewhere along the way, have been fortunate to either adopt a niece, nephew, or some grandkids. In 1984, things kind of took time. I had a lady come into my office with an 8-year-old son, and she started crying. I said, man, what is it? Your cat died on the way over from the next town about 20 miles away. She said, no. She said, for the previous 2 years, my son has been diagnosed with a rare blood form of autoimmune leukemia symptoms. The MDs had started out with him in the hospital out in the next town over, sent him to Children's Hospital in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. The white blood cell count was staying up normal, but he was losing the red blood cells. But they said it was some type of autoimmune leukemia, but they'd never seen it before. So she talked to me about what was going on with her son before I even took the cat in the exam that morning. I started thinking about autoimmune problems in the animal kingdom, which mammals are mammals, whether you walk upright or walk on all fours. So finally I said, man, that don't sound like autoimmune leukemia to me. I said, it sounds kind of like an animal with bleeding ulcers. So have you ever had your son tested for parasites? She said, nobody's never mentioned that. But she went back to her family doctor, and he said, we don't have a problem in America with parasites and people anymore. It's a third world country deal. So we chit-chatted with him on the phone that afternoon. I said, well, if you bring me a bowel specimen, a poop sample, however you want to call it, I will test your son. So anything grasping at your loved one, you exhaust all means to get to the root of the problem. Next week, she drove in with her son's bowel specimen, and he had more eggs in his food specimen with parasites than the cat that she had brought in that previous week. I wrote her up. She went back to her family physician, got a prescription, and 2 months' time, the 8-year-old kid was bouncing off the walls just like a normal 8-year-old. But the day he came to my office in 1984, he just kind of grew to the chair and just flopped like a zombie. So 1984 until present, I still tested people for parasites. It's been a big passion for me to talk about healthcare. Now, I set a preventive care program for the cows, the horses, the pigs, the dogs to build my veterinary practice. But right now, my passion is telling you, go back and challenge your MD or your medical provider. Test you for internal worms and parasites. It is a health disparity in America. Well, a lot of our modern MDs saying that there's not a problem here in America. But I can dispute that, and I hope that I never have to go and testify on Capitol Hill. My name is Donald Fuller. The old Donald sometimes get on Capitol Hill, but I believe I can film what I'm doing and justify it. So I want to see how political arena, but Mr. Weston brought that up about political arena, the card. So my dean at Tuskegee, when our graduation ceremony, he said, all y'all young folks, go home and get involved in your community. And I remember those words distinctly. So I've been very fortunate, unfortunately, to kind of fight the political arena in my home county or Castle County or Yanceyville, North Carolina. Been on several different boards like library board, health board, town council. And anytime you sit at the table, Mr. Weston and a few others who've been at tables can tell you sometimes it's not the best place to be, but if you've been anointed or called to do this, you got to stand your ground and you take an oath. Am I right, Mr. Weston?
Yes, sir.
So you do what you're supposed to do. And each one of you tell your kids, grandkids, go get involved or sit at the table. And one person can make a difference. So Health-wise, political-wise, it all ties hand in hand up to a point, as I'm concerned. So go home and get involved. So since 1984, I put on all my preventive health flyers, cat, which is my major animal, cat, horse, cow, goat, sheep, pigs. At the bottom of the flyer, and I'm gonna leave these with the president, they fix my copy and get everybody a copy here. As a pet owner, get yourself tested for internal parasites, because it's wreaking havoc on our bodies. I gave this to all my clients to come in, and from time to time, they will go and read it. I never heard this before. The MD never said it. But from 1984 until I retired in 2020, individuals go and call me, well, I've been having this problem 3, 5, 10 years and not getting any better. Can I bring a bowel specimen back? Maybe this is the root cause of my health problem. And they would, and I'll allow each one of you, if you want to drive to Yanceyville, North Carolina, to bring your bowel specimen with you. You can look under my microscope. When you see A on the microscope, A on the wall, B on the microscope, B on the wall, then you know you have internal worms. They've been saying that first grade can put an A block to an A block. So if you see A under the microscope, there's 4 major families of parasites, like flukes, roundworm, tapeworm, and the protozoa family. So you have sub-cousins, subspecies of each one of those major 4 families. So if you bring a bowel specimen in, you can see it under the microscope. Now, I can't write a prescription for you as a veterinary doctor. You see it, you go back and fight with your medical provider. There's a nurse practitioner, MD, or whomever. In 2005, I had a gentleman that I went out to his horse farm, and he had chronic fatigue for about 7 years. Been going back and forth with the doctor every 3 or 4 months, and getting weaker and weaker by the day. So when I talked to him, he looked like a man that got on drugs. I mean, you know how your skin kind of changed when you see the addicts on the street. So what's wrong with you? He started cursing us. Calm down. He said, I've been going to my doctor for the last 7 years, every 3 or 4 months, and getting weaker. They can't tell him what's wrong with him. Kind of like that little kid that's been going to the doctor for 2 years, 1984. So I told him what I'd been doing. So next week he drove over his bowel specimen. I rated him on a scale of 1 to 10. This person like a 10 plus. Had 3 different types of parasites in his stool specimen. Went back to his family doctor and took the form I signed off. Family physician told him, said, well, I can't set the veterinarian signature. I got to run my own test. That didn't go too good with the individual. So he put his finger on the doctor's nose and told him, said, you're going to give me a prescription today or nobody leaving this office. So I've been coming here for 7 years. You can scope me, x-ray me, MRI tube, to never test me for parasites through a bowel specimen. That's about the only way you can tell whether you got parasites. Blood tests, whole thing, colonoscopy is kind of a misnomer. It helps, but the only way I can tell with my animals or people is through a bowel specimen and look for eggs larva under the microscope. Listen to your health, tell your friends, your buddies, whomever. Please share it. Mr. Moses, my wife, we met, talked quite a bit down in Rockingham back in May. And I appreciate you spreading the word, Mr. Moses. But, so I've got cases here of individuals who I finally compiled statistical data, not so much to promote my book, but just kind of tell you what's what about how to get the test done. And the book is on Amazon, as well as I have some in the back of the truck. But seriously, ladies and gentlemen, please get yourself tested. I've had individuals anywhere from chronic fatigue to autoimmune problems, COPD, bone spinal deterioration, arthritis, infertility problems in female, to just Alzheimer's dementia, that I can fill this room up. Plus, that once they got tested, got treated, the body made a response to a 60 to 80% positive health. Yeah. Thank Mr. Moses for thinking enough to take hold of the thing of Eastern. So that's why I'm here this morning to try to discuss a few things with you and talk about preventive health care. I have a little slide presentation here. We can kind of help me get through it real quick. How much time we have this morning, Mr. President? How much time? Do I need? No, 10, 30 minutes. Now, this is a little slide presentation I put together here, and any disease that's transmitted from animals to humans is called zoonosis. That was a picture there of a praying cat, the dog. One of those good kind of pictures. Like I said, zoonosis, this is a companion animals that you can go on the website and look up about diseases that transmitted from animals to people. Now, as a veterinary doctor, you come in my office and say your dog had Rocky Mountain spotted fever or been exposed to rabies. You've been washing the wounds, breaking your cuticles, you can pick up the same disease. But if that dog has been, if you've been watching the wound, no gloves on, you can have the Rocky Mountain spotted fever, Lyme disease. Or a dog been fighting with a rabid raccoon or a skunk or coyote or something out in the wild, you can pick up the same thing. But my forte right now is internal parasites or worms. Most people let the dog kiss them, lick off the ice cream cone, etc. It happens. So you can pick up parasites. Now on the left here is the case of the little kid in 1984. The lady was an artist. She had a bunch of cats in the household. Somewhere between birth and 8 years of age when I come in contact with her, he had picked up worms from the cats. The first cat she brought in that week before had worms, but when I checked in the following week, he had whole egg and his huge specimen of cats. So you, as the owner, is my client. The animal is my patient in the animal kingdom. Go to the MD world, you are the patient to the MD. The lady was an artist and she had already did that painting. So that's why I titled that painting 13 Full Patients, because I helped save the kid's life as well as got her cataract up to good health. So it's called 13 Full Patients. Picture on the right there is a parasites that I had dewormed the dog out in the kennels, and it passed a whole blob of stuff. So I just called it a blob of parasites that's passing. Now, if you see that passing your commode, you got to run real quick and get some medication, because you are suffering from severe ulcers, blood loss, anemia, chronic fatigue, and once that parasite get into your system, irritate the gut. Those little on the right side of the little valve, that's just not just an ulcer. Once that parasite get in there and suck, create ulcer in your GI tract, create leaky gut, and they can penetrate through the gut, get into your bloodstream, and lodge in any organ of the body. Yes, ma'am.
Can you get that disease without having any evidence?
Question is, can you get the disease without having it now? Yes. So we rinse fruit and lettuce. Now, I'm going to show you that in just a minute here. But good question, ma'am. Yes, to answer your question, you can get the disease without having it now. You see, a lot of us, maybe not old enough in this generation, applied old view. Farm boy, lift the cow. Bust the watermelon there, wash my hands. Apple tree here, cow patty here. Rub the apple tree, apple, bite into it. So my grandmother lined us up twice a year and gave us a home concoction of castor oil and turpentine. It was part of her treatment. On 5th grade education, but her mother went, I won't say this, I wish I had it today. That's all I'm saying. Some of you know about an ancestor in your family, 90 years old, go back and talk to them. Take your tape recorder, they did something right along the way. That's still 13 full of patients. Just go ahead. We'll have to go through it together. All right. Now, in the animal kingdom, we've got it documented that parasites are transmitted through the placenta and breastfeeding. Puppies getting the worms from the mother through breastfeeding. But we're going to get one more phone. So, you can kids playing with the puppies. One adult worm can lay 1,000 plus eggs a day. The kids are in the park, cats in the sand pile litter, in flower beds, you can pick up parasites. That's my friend cat there. He just got out and get some time to do that. So parasites, when I say it's transmitted from animals to people, yeah, you can get it from your food supply too. Yeah. That was just one of the things that came out back about health disparity, trying to increase the life resources in North Carolina, support individuals, develop capacity and skills to achieve healthy living. So all this in slide here, I'm gonna leave here with the president here. They'll just be on the recorder here. Now, this is what I'm talking about, the leaky gut. If the parasite is in the stomach here, irritate the bowels, get in the leaky gut, goes up, might stop in the liver. Those of you who don't indulge in the alcoholic beverages or other beverages can have cirrhosis of the liver due to the parasite lodging in the liver. Now, I didn't know what it was until I went on to veterinary school, but my dad used to take red devil lye and put it in the hog's wheel and deworm the hogs. Now, the neighborhood got together when after the first killing frost, maybe in November, a lot of those old farmers that didn't use the red devil lye had to go with the liver because they had white spots, we call milk spots in the liver. That's not just scar tissue or cirrhosis of the liver. But I found out about what it was all about when I got to veterinary school in Tuskegee. From there, I get back into your bloodstream, get up, go in the heart, goes in the organ of the body. Lungs, eyes, COPD, brain tumors, etc. Neurological diseases, so dementia, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, is all related to the body suffering from malnutrition, and the parasites are sucking your oxygen and other nutrients from the body, so the body cannot function. Each organ cannot do its part that was designed by the creator of the universe, do what it's supposed to do in your body. So they have metabolism, thyroid problem, eyes, all the above. So this is why I put this flyer here together of how it can affect any organ of the body. So if one organ is starving, it's just like a car engine, every other organ going to kind of suffer a little bit too. There's nutritional malabsorption, parasites invading that particular organ, taking up 30 to 40% of your nutrition that you should body should be used to do what it needs to do. That's say skin rash there where the dog had licked the kid on the jaw or another situation and the parasite had penetrated the skin. So eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis could be parasites migrating through the system. Could be any place in the body. That's just the case there where the dog would lick the kid on the jaw and the egg coughing up the worm penetrate the skin. It's called cutaneous larval migraine. That's a cyst removed from a liver. That's not one of my cases, but removed from the liver of a tumor mass in the liver of parasites. That's a spot on the lungs. Worms that went up the body had insisted into the lung, but when your MD does an X-ray or MRI or something, so you got a tumor mass in some organ, most of the time the body's trying to encapsulate that parasite migrating through the system so it shows up at the tumor mass. What's causing your tumor masses? And this case here was one that came out of CDC in Atlanta. They did a surgery and took the tumor mass out. When they opened the tumor mass up, worms was in the tumor mass. The MD sent the sample over to the CDC. CDC looked at it about 2 weeks trying to decide how they're going to follow up with the chemo or radiation. But the pathologist, the oncologist that looked at the tissue, never seen anything like it before either. Finally, somebody on the team said, this is not human cell or human tissue, lung tissue. That right there is the cross section of the actual tapeworm that was enlarged in that cyst. That came out of CDC. It's not one of my cases, but I'm just trying to give you a reference that this thing with people, parasites, please challenge your MD. Medical provider, get tested for parasites. That's the case came out of CDC, and that's the media that was in 2015. But if they looked at it about 2 weeks, they said that was not human tissue. That's the cross section of the actual tapeworm right there, except when they did finally analyze the tissue. That's the case where you saw earlier how the arrow was pointing on up, blindness in the eyes. I've had quite a few individuals come in my practice with that, and once they got treated, eyesight kind of come back. Macular degeneration, retinal detachment, glaucoma, which is a misnomer sometimes. It's all because the parasites have went up through the bloodstream, come through the back of the eye, the retinal vessel, and causing scar tissue. So you start outside shot there. Some of it's old age, but then a lot of it is not. A lot of it is parasitic related. Please take your bowel specimen to your MD, or if you want to drive to your MD, or you can mail it. I'll read the test and get it back to you. This is to your help. As I say, my grandmother was 96, 97, Uncle 99. They took castor oil and turpentine religiously March and October. I went home, started practicing in 78. January 79, I got sick. They had my grandmother that one trying to save a few dollars to get the practice started, get the business off the ground. She fixed me up a little concoction called whiskey and rock candy and lemon and honey. Cayenne pepper, that breaks the fever. That cayenne pepper, where I laid in the bed that night like somebody had thrown a bucket of water on. I mean, I sweated over my pores up, so it was just a wet spot there in the bed. So some of those home remedies, you might want to go back and talk to some ancestors. Some of you all might already have them there. But please, I've got mine written down, so I got 5 grandkids. I'm hoping they will utilize it. My daughter right now, she works at local canola clinic. People come in with sickness. She won't tell them so bad to use the granny. You can't tell this and that now. If you want to go and start your own practice, just do it. But anyway, that's fine. So I got sick January 79, fever. Pneumonia-like symptoms. My grandmother said, boy, them old cows gonna be the death of you yet. It rains, snow, sleet, shining. The stress of coming back home, making the adjustment. She walked out, she looked at me, she said, when's the last time you cleaned your system out? I dropped my head because I knew she was talking about castor oil and turpentine. Now, we found you didn't eat in that house unless you took that castor oil and turpentine March and October. I mean, because she was the cook, the matriarch of the home, instead of 8 children and 10 or 15 grandkids coming through all the time. I dropped my head. She said, yes, ma'am. I said, yes, ma'am. That's all I said to her. She said, you don't have to take anything. I still have burial insurance on you. I have enough insurance to bury. In other words, boy, if you don't take it, you won't take it. I listened to her, didn't say a whole lot, but March of 79, I got my $400 castor oil. Since 1979, now I might not make that a bill today. I haven't had a sick day since. I detox and cleanse twice a year. Every seasonal change, when I was full practice, I check my stool specimen for parasites. I can tell you I've had parasites. I can't tell nobody else. Client Privacy Act. I can tell you what I get treated for the parasites, but March and October, regardless, whether I have any parasites or not, I detox. So far, I'm 73 years old and walk up and down the hill hunting, doing best of what I want to do. And with all my friends, yes, sir.
What do you remember, what do you recommend detoxing and cleansing our system with?
The old home remedy that my grandmother was used, castor oil, turpentine. Nothing know any better. Okay? Just simple as that. Get a bottle of castor oil, turn up your side, you about size like just turn up and swap. About 7 o'clock in the evening. Get up next, about 3 o'clock when you start grinding, just tell the wife to get eat that bill. You can change sheets if you don't. Simple as that.
So the whole bottle.
I do the whole bottle. Now, she used to give us maybe a big tablespoon, depends on the kid's body weight. But I just do the whole bottle to make sure I get, see, castor oil, there's Burolax, there's Metamucil as a cleanser, but the castor oil is an irritant laxative. So if you got where the worm is bit into your GI tract, it's going to create an inflammation area. So you can get a mucus plug or pulse over top of where that parasite. So the irritant of the castor oil will wipe that mucus or the spleen that we swallow every day. It'll wipe it out your system, clean you out. That's what it's called, good cleansing. And you can use wormwood, other things, but right now, to me, top of the line is castor oil.
What size bottle?
Oh, I get a 4 ounce bottle, but you get a different bottle.
4 ounce bottle.
Yeah,
Okay.
or you can take the, thing that you go in for cold house. But still, those are just laxatives. But that castor oil is an irritant laxative. It's going to wipe whatever's in that lining, it's going to slough it out. Yes, ma'am.
So,
A little bit loud, please, like that.
so turpentine as in ink strip on turpentine? Are we talking, isn't that what turpentine does?
Yes, ma'am. Made from the pine rosin tree. Yes, ma'am. And that's what we grew up on. Good question. Look, if I say something, say please Yeah.
I'm thinking what you're talking about.
Yeah, but that's what Granny used to use. Now, she had a broom straw and a bottle. I should have brought her bottle with me. I still got the old bottle now. She would take that broom straw, dip it in her bottle of turpentine. And depends on your body weight, Mr. Snow there might have got 10 drops. You may get 6 drops. Kid may get 3 drops on one sugar. Plus, get a big tablespoon that she poured the cast oil in. And everybody got lined up. And when I grew up till I was about 8 years old, we had outhouse. But she said, get on outside. Don't come back in. But nobody got sick in that household that I know of. Now, since I came back home and started my protocol in 1979, I still got cousins that's my age or over. Every season change. Oh, it's the pollen. Oh, it's spring of the year, fall of the year. No. Worms are releasing that toxic waste in your body. See, this time of year, the worms are trying to dig deep into your system to hibernate through the winter because it shortens the daylight hours. March, April, they're going to get active again because they're trying to get out, because like especially the tapeworm has to get into a secondary host to complete its life cycle. So they get active again in March, April, May, and you're going to get the pollen in the spring of the year. Everybody says the pollen in the air. No. I don't have it myself. I'm thankful that I know any allergies or anything. But my cousin tells me that I'm taking doggy medicine, which I said same doggy medicine that our grandmother gave us all the way through life. Well, your mother gave you and mine, my grandmother gave me, and my mother gave me. I mean, it was a ritual in our home growing up. I don't know how many of you know about that kind of thing, but that bridge that brought us over, we need to go back and utilize it. Because like I said, my ancestors was in the 90s, 80s, 96, 97, 35 days from being 100. So I'm praying that I make 120. It's up to the will of the Creator. I'm doing what my granny did, with mother with, and a little bit of medical training, maybe to kind of get me on too. But now, you mentioned about turpentine. I mentioned about turpentine. There's a YouTube out now, Dr. Jennifer Daniels. She's talking about the use of turpentine. Dr. Jennifer Daniels. You can look it up and read it for yourself there. The only thing about the turpentine now, I have not really tested, say if you were diagnosed with parasites, you go get on a turpentine protocol, then it actually take care of all 4 families of worms. That's the only thing I regret I haven't did yet, but and see, a lot of the medication, you have to take it, like today, life cycle of most parasites are 10 to 30 days, so you have to take on a cycle of about 21-day cycle. Because no medication I know would actually penetrate the eggshell sometimes. So if you take it as the worms hatch out, you get the immature larvae. So take it about 3 times, about 20 days apart. Whatever parasite medication that you need.
You got a question with that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My routine that has been, and I know this also from ancestors and
Put it
grandparents.
out, please, ma'am, because okay.
My experience has been, and I did learn it from my grandparents. My dad has been with parasites, was use black walnut. Have you had any incidents where people use that and it's been effective? Because I sometimes have pets, and I had noticed that sometimes after being around them or checking their bowls or just rubbing them, I would have, a week later, I would have a tiredness or just no energy. And I remember, I started remembering that my dad would get black walnut from a walnut tree, and he would take a hammer and shell them and get little pieces of black walnut out of them. And he would tell us, give us like a little handful and tell us we need to eat that and clean our bodies. But now they have an actual pill and a liquid that you can get. And I have been using that. And whenever I feel that sluggishness coming on over time, and I know I've been to the doctor and he said everything was great and wonderful, then I think back to how much interaction have I had with my pets. And that is when I turned to, like you were saying, the 3-day regimen with the black walnut. And from that, I'll wait for about 20 days and then repeat it. And it's amazing how the sluggishness leaves, like you said, you begin to see better, feel better, and you actually feel lighter, because all of a sudden when it seems like the parasite gets in your body, you start to feel heavy. you start to feel like your muscles are just not working right.
What you said there about the black walnut, wormwood, that's herbal products out called Power In. Sometimes they have diatomaceous earth, black walnut, garlic, pumpkin seed, papaya seed, all that's supposed to help flush the body of a parasite. Now that tapeworm family, I've checked individuals that had tapeworms, they went through their herbal regime for like 3 treatments, 1 dose, 20 days apart, 3 times, come back in maybe 30 days after the last treatment. The tapeworm was count just as high post as it was pre-tested. So the black walnut wormwood combination, garlic, pumpkin seed, papaya, it's pretty good for your roundworm family. That tapeworm family, my suggestion, go get a prescription. Now, it's been said that the gut, the bowel, the colon is the second brain. If you don't keep the body toxin cleaned out, it will bag up in the system, give you your sluggishness, your chronic fatigue, or irritable bowel. And once the body gets overloaded, some organ that's kind of weak in the body, they will set up in that particular organ and create the tumor-like masses, cancer-like lesions, or muscle weakness, dementia, Parkinson, myasthenia gravis, fibromyalgia, things of that nature. Along the way, you good with I would say take something. Something is better than nothing. But my recommendation, get diagnosed as to the proper parasite that you may have and get the right prescription medication. So there's no one product that takes care of all 4 families. Good question, man. My time's up. Yes. That's a tumor on the brain right there. As I showed you earlier, the picture that the parasite came through. Now that was the case right there that came out of Mount Sinai in New York. The lady went in about 4 times to the ER for migraine and stayed in bed month and a half at a time. The 4th time she went over, according to the story on the news, he sent her over to the neurosurgery department and they did a brain scan. That was a tumor on the brain. See how it may lodge the inner organ on the way up. Now, when you see here at the neck, how the heart, the vessel aorta comes off the heart and goes up to the brain. We had a dog that come in from South Africa. Took it off the airplane in Georgia. The dog was dead. So this man paid big bucks for this rare breed coming out of South Africa. So they took the dog over to the veterinary school in Georgia and did a complete autopsy. The worm had lodged and has come over the sternum bone here and pressed over on the esophagus and choked the dog to death. There was a mass in that. So they took the mass out, analyzed it at the University of Georgia, did a complete autopsy and work upon it. Come to find out the dog had been eating raw chicken gut in South Africa. But at the time that the article came in out of my veterinary journal, I had a surgeon come in my office, and I gave him the article. Could that be the widowmaker? When it lodged right here and come over the sternum. So a little question like that, there's still a lot of room for research. So I'm just planting seeds. I don't know who's the MD in the lab here in the office here on YouTube, but a lot of things still need to be proven, disproven. I'm just giving you what I've done thus far with what further I can go in my little office. But I'm planting seeds. You're an MD, please go do some research. I can sit there and talk to you. Now, I'm not affiliated with Duke or Carolina or some of the big hospitals. I just got a little small hole in the wall up there in Yanceville. This came about to me through the Creator. And when I was telling you about this little kid here, mother drove over about 20 miles from another town. And I asked the question sometimes, why did she drive over to Yanceville to see me when there were 7 veterinarians in that town? Maybe y'all can answer that for me. So I'm still asking for knowledge and understanding divine guidance along my way. That's a live specimen of a parasite that I tested on a person now, which is the Toxoplasma gondii, which is the one that said if the woman is pregnant, don't handle the cat. Cat. That's a tapeworm larva out of a live specimen there. And you can see those things under my microscope. You wouldn't bring your live specimen to me. Move right along now. That's the egg packet of the tapeworm. And each one of those little black spots there out of the GI lining will hatch out into a worm larva anywhere from 10 to 30 days, or at least by next spring, 6 months down the way. And each one of those eggs will hatch out to a worm larva. Then that larva will produce another packet of eggs, so it's a continuous cycle if you don't stay on top of it March and October, at least 2-3 times a year. Now you was talking about can we get parasites from anything else other than the animals? In the center, we rinse fruit and lettuce, but we don't cook it at all. Bring it out from the field, or like I said, the apple tree here, the cow pie here, we rub the apple off and bite into it. So Granny knew we was being exposed to parasites, not even having animals. But I grew up around a bunch of hunters, so we hunted all our life. I was born to hunt, but I had to work for a living now through the years. But that's a strawberry. So you bring it in, you go to the store, you buy strawberries, grapes, et cetera, before you get home, you can kind of like more sample see what it tastes like. You just put parasites in your system. Fleas, rats, roaches, all are part of the carriers of the parasite arena. Rats, roaches, fleas, birds, droppings on fruit, lettuce, etc. You just ingest the parasite. You don't have to have them. I've had people come in, never been on a farm, never rural area, heavy level of parasites. On the right is where the parasite bit into your GI tract, suck 20-30% of your nutrition, the other 20-30% sliding over the gut line, not even being absorbed. The left here, when you go in for colonoscopy, your MD said, well, you got a couple polyps like snipping. What makes a polyp in your body? Anybody tell me that? Now, my theory is the worm is embedded on the inner layer, and a polyp is not just a worm abscess. But our MD world will say different. Now, I've done autopsies there, and you can see the worm crawling like the upper, that rise in that GI tract. Alvin just died, did an autopsy, and one was my uncle. I just had got home and the cattle died on the farm, and he said that saw the worms coming out of those holes on the left here. Mm-hmm. And he was so proud of his nephew that he told everybody in church and everybody else. So he helped make the practice. But I mean, they just family, what they do for you sometimes. Good, bad on them. They can help you or hurt you. Go ahead, sir. Does that kind of make sense to you? That yes. Okay, all right. So once you get the system sucked down from the parasite, malabsorption, you're going to lose all your minerals, vitamin D, calcium, other glands start reacting, poor minerals like the long bone, your disc in your backside deteriorate. Well, you're going to have spinal disc deterioration, arthritis, hip replacement, knee replacement, shoulder replacement, all because of parasites and the calcium, mineral, magnesium, phosphorus ratio get imbalanced. And then the bone can't rebuild itself. You think, well, I'm old, arthritis, whatnot there, but you know, body was made up that way. Because if something is robbing you of your essential nutrient, then the immune system goes down. And see, back when COVID hit, everybody got on this ivermectin kick that it was help curing COVID. Maybe, maybe not. I still need some more research done on that. They had people that were sick for 2-3 weeks, got on the ivermectin dewormer, and they bounced back in 72 hours, started coming back up getting well. The rest of them kind of went on with the undertaker, or the maker, whoever it may be. But now my question on this part is, did the ivermectin kill off some of the parasites, or did the ivermectin replace the virus on the body cell? So still room for more research. Please help me. I'm just kind of telling you what's been given unto me. Once you get the parasite, the disc in the back start deteriorate, you get the herniation, protrusion, ruptured disc. In 2003, I had a lady come in. She had already had 3 back surgeries from 98 to 2003. And was standing there, and she was squirming. I said, we got a bathroom in the back. I thought when you got to go, you got to go. And like, oh man, when I got to go, I got to go. She said, no. She said, probably another 4 months, 3-4 months, I got to have 4 back surgeries. I already had 3 disc fusions. So after I got to take care of the pets that day, I told her what I was doing for parasites. So she went home and brought her specimen. And I read them on a scale of 1 to 10. She was probably +3. 10 with 3 different type parasites. Since 03, her doctor cooperated. Some of these won't cooperate, but her doctor cooperated with been treating since 03. As of today, I did her blood test on the horses with just consulting work. I'm not really working. She has not had the 4th back surgery as of today. In 2009, she came in, picked up some meds for an animal. She said, I had this exam about 3 weeks ago. She said, I can see my disc thick between my vertebrae. Before they were so tissue paper thin, every time you move, they would pop. That's why you get the fluid in your disc. Then that creates sciatica and the nerve damage going down the leg because of it. Just putting pressure on you. Get tested and get treated properly for. There's just some other different worms there that we have. You got the roundworm family, you got the hookworm, tapeworm, protozoa. Now this case right here is not one of mine. This was a case came out of Canada. Yeah, we'll go to the bar every day, 5 o'clock, and buy a shot or two of whiskey.
Oh, okay.
They will give free sushi. Those milk spots, white spots throughout the rib cage here and up on the long bones. He went to the doctor, complained about 6 months, nobody checked him. That's on the autopsy board. X-rays on the autopsy board. The sushi tapeworms are killed. So, eat sushi, they work. Or you cook the food well done, take a drink of hoops or whatever, and keep on going. Okay? I tell you, I don't belong out of food bags. The Baptist preacher, so I just leave it at that, okay? That's the case that came out of that, okay? That's it, fellas, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your time. That's my family, whatnot. So that's my hunting buddy. We go out, South Dakota, duck, turkey, pheasants, hunt trip from time to time. So that was my dad at times back in the day, holding the grandkids, and that's it. So thank y'all. Any questions, comments? I'll be there. I have the books on the side. If you want them, you get them off Amazon. The East Yellow, $9.99, $45. I'm gonna leave some flyers here for your president, and hopefully he'll register everyone there. If you have any questions, comments, I'll be around the rest of the day. Now,
Yeah, we got a couple for it.
okay, that's question two. Go right ahead.
They're over there on there.
Right.
What is it?
Don't see any questions. Okay.
Okay. So I'll be around the rest of that day for the program and whatnot there. Thank y'all for letting me come in and got some questions, comments. One last comment. I've got a flyer here that I'm gonna give to you. Got a flyer here I'm gonna leave here with your president. Somebody handed this to me, and I'm not sure the efficacy of it right now, but I still want to spread the word. There's 50 companies that give scholarships to our African American individuals, but not even applying. Wherever, Ohio, there. So I'm gonna leave this with you, Mr. President. You can share it with whomever and see what's what. But it's 50 companies that send it out. African American individuals not even applying for these companies. But we buy their products almost daily. Okay.
Are there any questions for anyone on Zoom? Mr. Matthew, I know you said you had some questions.
I saw Derek, my nephew had his hands up, so I thought you were the question from Derek.
Okay, Darren, your question? Darren, unmute yourself. I can't hear you.
Yes, okay. Well, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, as an additional remedy, I know you mentioned the turpentine, et cetera. Would you recommend soursop tea as a remedy?
Yes, based on Dr. CIVIC. Now, I haven't tested anyone that I tested that went and took the soursop tea. Anything that's herbal antioxidant will help the system flush the toxins out of the body. So soursop tea, cherries, pomegranate, all those are good antioxidants that will flush the free radicals or toxins out of your body. So if you keep your body clean, it will stay a lot healthier. I would like to do a test on the soursop tea pre and post to make sure that it works.
Okay, appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any more questions? Hearing none. Doc? Okay.
Just real quick, I know in environmental justice, especially if you live in high pollution areas, are dealing with VOC, or volatile organic compounds. And so a lot of that stuff in the air is non-visible. So my question is, recommend like a regimen of taking, like the turpentine and castor oil, like once a month? I might have missed that if you did.
Okay, now you're talking about the toxin, environmental toxin. It's also been said that if you use excessive deodorant, the portion of the deodorant that prevents you from dripping or sweating is carcinogenic. It causes a lot of breast cancer in the individual. So the environmental pollutions will get into the body, and if it overwhelms the body, it can create cancer. Now, the turpentine, soursop, all it does is kind of flush the body of those toxins. And drinking lots of water, anything that says antioxidant, fruit, fresh vegetables is good to help keep the body, leafy green vegetables help keep the body going. Now, that was a case where a guy bought a new car and the kid dropped a potato chip or something in the back seat, kept the car about 3 or 4 years, and it still had was the same preservative that it had when it was purchased. So my thing is go back to nature, organic, as much as possible.
Okay, any more questions? What, Zach, did he answer your question for you? Zazine?
Pretty much.
Yeah, okay.
And I'll be around, so my number is 336-694-3195. If you want to talk after the program or sometime next week, give me a call. 336-694-3195. Donald L. Fuller, DBM.
So Dr. Fuller, what was the name of that test that she asked for?
Parasite test. Fecal.
Internal
Parasite fecal exam test. Not feces. That's the only way you can tell. Blood test will give you a good reading. It is count based on, but it's
and can we got flavor test on?
yes.
Still right.
It's still
Yeah, we're
bad.
gonna have to get that flavor test.
See, your book is outside? Yes, sir. I have some outside in my truck. I'll try to make it. I'll be there for a while. I didn't know how much time we had today, so I didn't want to have to. But I do, yes. Yes, ma'am.
Also, there was, we used to take, the black strap, or something like that. Is that one good as well?
That's part of the antioxidant regime. Blackstrap molasses is high in iron and calcium. Now, I had an uncle that was going in for just a regular routine cold hospital, but they couldn't get his blood up to feel safe to put him in on anesthesia, about 89 years of age. And they was giving him shots. I said, oh, you know what? We used to eat all the time in sock with a biscuit. I gave him a pint of blackstrap molasses. And went back 2 weeks later, but why didn't like chili? I still take once or twice a week for a teaspoon of blackstrap molasses on some biscuit oil. My breakfast a lot more than the fruit, but then I'll take crunchy peanut butter, banana, slice of cheese, and spread a teaspoon of blackstrap molasses on. So I think they can keep me a little bit more. I can't say, well, I'll make it through the day or not. That's where I'm at right now in my life. Okay?
You say that was peanut butter,
Banana, crunchy peanut butter, so you get the nuts.
okay, crunchy peanut butter,
Banana,
slice
slice of cheese,
of cheese,
and a teaspoon of blackstrap molasses.
strap.
That's high in iron and calcium. That's my breakfast a lot of morning, plus maybe pomegranate or maybe a kiwi or something like that as the fruit. That's my breakfast a lot of morning, rather than eating bacon and I go ahead. I don't, anything I want to eat, I eat. You know, it's just the amount. And see, talking about dementia, my mother's ancestors, when they cooked the vegetables, when they put the vegetables in the refrigerator, you'd have like a quarter of an inch of fat coating those vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the brain is about 80 to 85% fat, and it needs to be fed fat. So my thinking is dementia comes from not feeding the brain properly. My mother died at 96. On Monday, I came fell over at about 10, 11 o'clock. My sister's brother had come home, and they were sitting at the breakfast table there just talking. And first thing my mother said, them letters from my boyfriend? I said, yeah, Mom. I said, Mr. White Bill, Mr. Water Bill. I said, you ought to go check, because Daddy had died in 1990, father died in 1990. I said, you need to change boyfriend. Maybe they might leave us a little bit hurt or something. So everybody just has a good man. 11, 12 o'clock, she said, damn, little bill about it. Went to the hospital on Monday evening, died on Wednesday morning. But what I'm saying to you is, my mother could have a better conversation than you and I have today. My grandmother was the same way. Her mother was 97 the same way. And most of the people in my family now, some say it's inherited DNA, but I don't think so. It's the diet that you put in. that she has a cholesterol problem. See, cholesterol is the precursor to your sex hormone. If she started having a cholesterol problem, that's the end of it. See that? They spell it one way or the other. So, if you got another question, I'll be around for a while. You can talk. Thank you for your time. Let me come in and just talk about certain things today, okay?
Thank you. The presentation was great, so I wanted to put it on in chat that it was great. So you did a wonderful job.
Thank you. Amen.
We'll probably ask you to come back again when we need some more help.
My email is on the form there. Carol's best service with my telephone number. We'll be glad to do whatever. Yeah. Listen to your help.
I know it's gonna be some folks going to buy some castor oil today.
You ain't gonna run out, ain't you?
I was thinking we probably.
Well, about 8 out of 10 people positive. I have 2 out of 10 that have more parasites than the animals that I checked now through the years.
All right, we're going to break now. We got snacks over here, so get your snacks, and then we'll jump right back in the meeting with Ms. Mack, leading our next discussion.
Mr. President, I believe this year review, and you kind of share with me that's something about preventive health care on animals, and then you talked about the scholarship, and then this is something how these some references that people had. Yeah, I read what I black book here, and then this is how they want. Everybody's still going. No. If you want to get yourself with no try to get to and then this so that's how I come to think together. And this is
Hey, I'm hanging in there. Very good to see you. Yes, sir. Let me see you moving and
You got too many emails. You got too many emails.
He told me.
Well, I sent it to Nancy. I can't embark.
I can still get it on inbox. Sometimes, when it's in here, I'll get a call. So you say, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Days of the line, so that people can have the.
This is what the scout was saying. And now what I'm saying is, you can order this fundraiser here now, based on volume.
Working.
Right here. One calendar sale, like $10. If you want another, you get
It doesn't change.
You get back to the door. And then the business thing. You send that direct to, or you got somebody you want to get in there. Sorry for that. For the one, this calendar has all the.
Me too.
And we need to take Jack,
1945.
You got a cold. You didn't want to go tell her you had a cold like that. You know what was coming to me. How you doing, Mama? Hey, all right. All right. Did you say
I'm doing good right now. Right.
I'm just trying to get myself together. You ain't gonna get that one.
Oh, yeah, you got
That's what I'm talking
I guess. I can tell you, you know, she was one of them. I can tell you that. Maybe some other. Janice, just checking. That's how from I feel what I'm doing. Okay. I'm leaving y'all this right here. Like, you know, if you want to this right here, now you can share or get on, or you can just give them to the you remember the copy. This year's my own house right here.
I went there first.
I haven't seen him. I haven't like this supposedly. I look supposedly.
So you really want, I'm sorry.
I didn't see him in a while. I know he's trying to come early.
She served this kind of how many years?
34.
34 years.
Served
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna take Mr. Brown.
You learn a lot today? Yeah, Mama used to get us there when we were small. We take the cat started using black cars behind us. And we went running.
Man, I think it's one of my cars, man. Everything has friendly information. Feel free to call me. That's like it's a certain call.
Now, she used to give us the CIVIC phone. Black cars behind us.
I'm giving
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, you know that.
I don't think I gave you a contact, bro. I gave you the information, man. See what we got.
Sheriff, you want to say anything while we have a little snack?
No, I'm just glad to be here.
I'm going to go to the boardroom and let somebody get this snack here.
No, sir, just glad to be
We're
here.
glad for you to be here.
Yes, sir.
Glad for you to be here.
Yep. How long does it usually be here?
Well, we're not trying to do it at 1. Okay. We're trying to be out here by 1. We will be out here by 1 o'clock.
Oh, good, okay.
Because there's not really any business going on. We just present information.
Met our sheriff.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, this is our sheriff. This is our head sheriff. Look, he's trying to call all the other sheriffs in the neighborhood to go get them a cowboy. Look, he ain't sheriff from Pitt County. Yeah. They got boots on the ground. They got cowboy boots. You see all on the YouTube.
We were gonna put boots on the ground and let them show us
Come
something.
on, let me run outside and grab a quick pic. It's shot.
And once everybody gets served, we want to go on as soon as his back is ready. We will continue our meetings.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. Good plan.
And what I will say is, you do have to challenge your doctors. Sometimes my spouse went to a doctor, a dentist, and she talked about how much pain she was in. And then we get home and start doing research, and we find out that doctors think Black women can take more pain. And you know, I was like, I that's hard to believe that they treat us. We're treated like that. And I guess when you heard our head of health from the CDC say that we should be treated different medically than other races shows how they think.
That's right. Always been that way. It's always been. Ever since the history of medicine. Yeah, it's been like that. Yeah. Because like even with my patients, a lot of people would be diagnosed with schizophrenia. And in reality, that was not the accurate diagnosis. It was something else. You know, nobody even looked into it. They looked for the word.
Agree. I do think though that there is something to be said about our distrust of the profession and our inability to engage. I will tell you just recently, I was looking up something, just a Google search, and all the images that came up for the condition were for Caucasian people. And I just kept thinking, well, what's this supposed to look like on my skin? How would I know if that's what it is? But there are few pictures. Everything you look up, you know, and again, I don't want to generalize, but a lot of what we see in terms of research wasn't on us.
Yeah, that's not generalization, that's realization. And part of it is because of our distrust, we do not participate in research.
That's where I was
And
going.
so one of the things that I try to tell our people is to get involved in research because we can't know what it does for us or to us.
If you are part of that, I agree. I agree.
Oh, let me have my deck, this deck. I got it.
How are you?
Not ready yet?
Good.
Three, six.
Well, yeah, they're going out.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Did you get your
I got that.
glasses?
I got that. Thank you. I'm not talking about you and family or whatever. Yeah, you know, yeah, the first thing is yeah, that is. We have about 7 miles left to walk.
Yeah, were you at the game last night?
Oh, yeah, I videoed the game.
Right.
Yeah, I was there.
You gonna, you get that more, right, how many more? There you go, there you go. But it could be the day you don't do it. Now, he's got all this. It will, because I may be, my grandson played AAU baseball on.
That's a big crowd out there.
Yeah, I've been running, I've enjoyed it because I'm tired of driving. The whole working, so getting out down the line, good fun. She had a birthday.
Yeah, I seen what I said, man.
Yeah, good, you know, I'm trying to keep it, you know, because it's the
I'm sure you'll get them in line.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They know you online and speaking your mind.
You have no presentation. You have no board presentation.
She said, yeah, she said, but I thought she sent to y'all too. But she sent to me.
Send it to Carl. Carl, he's gonna pop up. Nancy's gonna email you her presentation. Yeah. She gave you.
Yeah, so she was just sending to me anyway, but I ain't looking at it. Okay, I just sent it to your email.
So you go out one night and you rent somebody, but then you can't get a rent right there next week. Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to teach them. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to teach them. This kind of like this, but you get this one spirit, this person, like else, make it look like you look good, and they do it for you. But yeah, there's just a lot there, and so you know, I tell them you put this, yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna. You
get it?
He sent it to your email.
You send it to my email.
When we started working this year,
Well, my parents,
yeah, she got everybody. She'll do what she needs for whatever, but we can do that now. And I talked to them about it, you know, financial points too, you know. They don't be so fast. Yeah. They won't have it. Like I said, I ain't gonna say it. I'm going to and I'm very hard to go put it into the game of
I haven't had it yet.
You don't have no flat guy?
Yeah, I don't have that.
You don't have it?
Yeah, they get started. I can walk across the book again. In my church, say you go around the back, right?
My mama would have a fit if we.
Right.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Pulpit area, Lord have mercy. You committed a sin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if y'all ain't got started yet, I can walk across back to you know.
Yeah, I'll be right here.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You ain't got it. You ain't got it. You don't got it.
Does that make sense to you? You get the lady. Does that make sense to you? Yes.
They
I'm trying to get this together. I can take. I can take.
Yeah, I'll take your ass. No.
Be kind to me, okay? Yeah, so I've been down that road a few times. Didn't make it look like that.
You still ain't got it?
Well, I even go home.
Let me see. I have to go back to them.
You know, but I hate to
Oh,
leave
you
it.
understand? I'm sorry.
Just a
What's it called?
Thank you. That's the show. You get up there. Look on that. Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. Okay, so I'm telling you,
I think the gas was, but hold on.
There you go.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got it?
I just got for you, yeah.
Go down.
Go down now.
Go down. On my email, go down. I don't need to probably.
The one attachment. See, man, Johnny is good over there. Allow, place that one to allow this time.
Now that's picture and pictures. There it is. No, that's just my image for my signature.
Ah, that's good.
Go down some more and see if they're attached.
I don't think it's
It's not a test. Well, I sent it also. Think down below your emergency.
Huh?
Where's her email?
It's underneath. He just went back. You going down. The only attachments up there.
We only got one attachment.
Yeah.
And that's the image.
Look at, I sent, is that the ENC1@gmail?
Said what?
Email address, what's that email address that it went to?
That's the official thing, man.
Okay. Okay, I just tried to send it there. You can see it.
What's it, what,
I
can you send it? Can you
Go
send
back
it?
out to the list of emails and see if you see it will come after these.
We don't have.
But he don't have that email.
I don't have that email.
But I'm saying, you got this right here, look back to the list of emails.
See, that's the one I got from Vance.
No, but I'm saying I sent it a few minutes ago.
Yeah, but when the bill
But you, when you sent it to
That's
that,
what I'm asking, which email
yeah,
is
send it to mine.
It's showing right here.
What's the email address?
CK,
Oh, you can pull it up.
Yeah.
CK Bond, 61@gmail.com.
It's an attachment on it. It's
It's an attachment, it's her profile, but it's not giving it to you. Okay, I just.
We do have a time limit. So 1:15 that we have to vacate the building. Are you ready? Is that you ready? All right, let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know you were, I got it.
you must not leave here, right? Right.
No, I'm asking so you stay.
I said, no, I want to get, don't get back, I got 3 hours drive.
Well, you couldn't even find me.
Okay.
You're not letting my books.
Good morning. Good morning. It is indeed a pleasure this morning to introduce someone whom I know, who is from my community, who is growing our community and doing a lot of exciting things. This morning I am here to introduce to you Dawn Daily-Mack. Mrs. Mack is a RN. She's also Northampton County NAACP president. And she serves on various committees, enhancing her knowledge about healthcare and what makes a community successful in being provided information and data on issues of concern around healthcare as well as politics. So this morning, with no longer ado, I would like to introduce to you also one of our associate pastors at Cool Spring Missionary Baptist Church in Gadsden, North Carolina, where she serves and does a good job at doing that. And in any other capacity within our church family that she sees the need or can assist her, she is always there and always present. Again, I would like to introduce to you, I would say Reverend, okay? But to you all, Don Daily-Mack RN, a wonderful person to get to know.
Well, I get the privilege of being the person that talks to you after you ate. Please do not get the itis and fall asleep on me. I will do like my grandmother, who was also a preacher. When we fell asleep in church, she would stop her sermon and say, "Wake up!" I promise not to do that. And I won't take a lot of time. I have a lot of slides, but I have a time constraint. We talked a lot about, I'm sorry. But it was good information, and I thank you for that. I do have to say, though, that a lot of our problem now is we're eating stuff like we're eating today, and that affects a lot of stuff as well. But that's okay. Go ahead and drink your turpentine. So today I'm going to talk about healthcare challenges in Eastern North Carolina. My slides will have a lot of stuff that you already know on there. And there's some things you may have heard of but not be too sure about. And so I'm going to try to help you out with that today. And so we're talking about, I'm going to give a brief overview of healthcare in Eastern North Carolina. Hey, slides died, okay? And
I got it.
some top health concerns, some facts and figures. We want to understand the health disparities, and we've discussed that a little bit. There are definitely disparities. Medicaid funding crisis, if everybody really wants to know about that and what its impact is. And then I'm going to give you a call to action and some suggestions. As Ms. Smith said, that we are trying to do some things in our community to help out with this healthcare crisis, and I think that other people can replicate some of the stuff that we're doing. And so we know that Eastern North Carolina's healthcare system is shaped by its unique geography, the population demographics, and the infrastructure in place. Understanding the regional stakeholders, and the stakeholders are the people that play a part, that includes us, provides an insight on how care is delivered and how challenges are faced. You can go up, keep going. Geographic demographic profile. So we know that Eastern North Carolina encompasses largely rural communities with diverse populations, including significant number of low-income and minority residents. There are geographic barriers that often limit access to healthcare services, which influence health outcomes. If you live in a community with no hospital, you've got to travel far. That's a barrier, right? If you live in a community that has a hospital and it's not the best hospital, it's also a barrier. Also, infrastructure, you can go up. The region faces limited healthcare infrastructure, including shortages of hospitals. There are some counties without hospitals, clinics. There are some counties that don't even have clinics or even doctor's offices. And so we have to, like I mentioned earlier, travel long distances for medical care, which leads to delays and reduced access to preventive services. You know, we're always being reactive rather than proactive. It is hard to be proactive and do the preventive healthcare thing if there's no provider in your community. And so who are those stakeholders that I mentioned earlier? All right. Okay, we can go up to the key stakeholders. So local hospitals, whether you have one, community health centers, public health agencies, and advocacy groups. The way things are going now, we're going to be relying more and more on advocacy groups. All right? So all these stakeholders work together to address healthcare delivery and funding challenges in the region, and there are many. You can go up. Eastern North Carolina grapples with significant health issues, including high rates of chronic diseases, maternal and child health challenges, and increasing concerns regarding mental health and substance abuse. And so right here, we are prevalence of chronic diseases. This has not changed for many years, that the leading causes of death in
our rural communities are heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. Have been that way for as long. I've been in North Carolina for 20 years. Every year the report comes out, says the same thing. Now they might flip. It might be heart disease and diabetes one year and then diabetes and heart disease the next year, but they're usually in the top 3. Chronic diseases rates in this region exceed the national averages, indicating serious health concerns. And we need some prevention programs. Like I mentioned, we tend to be reactive rather than proactive. We need prevention programs. And it's hard to get prevention programs started when there's no money. Another thing that's been very concerning have been the maternal and child health statistics. You go to the next slide. Maternal mortality and infant health indicators remain troubling in eastern North Carolina, with disparities linked to socioeconomic status and access to prenatal care. Improving these outcomes is critical for community health, but I have to tell you something. The whole country has a horrible high infant and maternal mortality rate. In a country like the United States, where we have all the best everything, right? There are more women and children dying than in some third world countries. Let that sink in. There are places that we wouldn't even go to because we think they're dirty or not a good place to be. Their women and children are living. Ours are not. And so being in our communities where we already have health disparities and we have limited access to care, it is even so much worse than what the national average is, which is bad. You go to the next slide. Mental health and substance use trends. So I'm going to get this out of the way. Mental health has always been around. Mental illness, mental health is what we want. Mental illness has always been around. We have, by and large, as a people, ignored it. There's so much stigma attached to mental illness. You know, everybody's got the little crazy cousin in the corner and we just don't pay no attention to them. We ignore them. It's time to stop doing that. Because with the way things are going on these days, we all have some issues with our mental health. Mm-hmm. I say all the time that being Black in America is traumatic. Mm-hmm. Trauma can affect your mental health. And so we have all had some level of trauma that affects our way of thinking. And we need to start to normalize talking about mental health as much as we talk about our physical health. We don't have a problem talking about my diabetes. I'm going to eat that piece of cake. I'm just going to take some more insulin. To me, that's mental illness. That you know that cake has the possibility to kill you, but you're just going to go ahead and eat it anyway and just take more insulin. So we need to deal with that. Mental health disorders and substance use, including opioid addiction, are significant concerns. And there are limited behavioral health resources, which exacerbate these challenges, affecting overall community well-being. You know, they talk about opioid. That was not our problem before, right? It has always been our problem. It's just that it was focused on more with other folks. That's right. And all the dollars come out about opioids. And guess what? We needed to. So can we go up again, please? So let's understand the health disparities. They are shaped by racial, ethnic, and rural divides, compounded by socioeconomic factors and structural barriers to care. Addressing these is essential for equitable health outcomes. Minority populations and rural residents face disproportionate barriers to health care, resulting in poorer health outcomes. These gaps stem from historical inequities and systemic challenges within healthcare delivery. And you can see that as we look at our geography, that we're in what's called the Black Belt. And the Black Belt was the area where most of the slaves resided. And those areas that we live in are still affected today by the types of things that started way back then. One of them being, don't worry about putting hospitals over there. They don't need them. Somebody talked earlier about Black women can take pain more than anybody else. Those are the kind of biases that healthcare has, and also that politics has concerning us. And that is affecting our disproportionate barriers of care. Because before we talk about social determinants of health, right? Lack of good health care, lack of good housing options, transportation. Social determinants of health are affected by political determinants of health. The way people vote about what happens in your community affects your social determinants of health, thereby affecting your health. And so if we go to the next slide, the socioeconomic factors that affect health outcomes: poverty, education levels, employment status, and housing conditions. They profoundly impact health in Eastern North Carolina. That influences nutrition, access to care, and chronic disease management. Doesn't sound real good, does it? It's like the odds are stacked against us. Barriers. Let's talk about barriers on the next slide. Transportation difficulties, limited provider availability, and insurance coverage issues hinder timely. You went too far. Hinder time. Keep back. Down. Did a slide disappear? It sure did. Don't worry about it. Hold it right there. So they hinder timely access to preventive and primary care services, leading to advanced disease presentations. So now let's talk about what people really want to know about. Medicaid. What about the funding crisis? And what is its impact? You can go up now. Keep going. Slide just totally disappeared. You can go up one more time. All right. So a severe Medicaid budget shortfall threatens the stability of healthcare delivery in Eastern North Carolina, with implications for providers, clinics, and patients relying on Medicaid services. So we talk about what the federal government did with that HR 1. I can't call it what they called it because there's nothing beautiful about it. But what we need to be focusing on more is what our General Assembly is doing here in North Carolina as well. I know that the federal affects what happens here, but we have a bunch of folks here that have their own ideas about how to make things worse for us on their own, whether the federal government did anything or not. And so our Medicaid program faces a $319 million deficit. And that deficit was not just because somebody said, we're not going to give you any more money. The deficit is coming from things like rising enrollment and increased healthcare costs. And so, you know, the Medicaid expansion that we waited for 13 years was a good thing. It was a great thing. And there were people that had waited years and years to get Medicaid coverage that got it. Well, those people were a lot sicker than anticipated. Well, it makes sense. They may have been waiting for up to 20 years for Medicaid coverage to go see a doctor. And once they finally were able to see a doctor, they found out how sick they really were. That drove up healthcare costs. So as great as Medicare expansion was, it helped build this budget shortfall. And so there's a significant strain on state and regional budgets. You can go to the next one. So how is the General Assembly handling that? Are they saying, well, let's put more money in there because there's a shortfall? Anybody? No, that's not what they said. What they said was find some way to cut costs, DHHS. Find some ways to remove stuff so that that $319 million shortfall is covered. And so what they're doing is they're decreasing provider reimbursements. Think about that. Doctors that were already not receiving enough payment for seeing the patients, now seeing more patients because of Medicaid expansion, but being asked to accept less. Hospitals, they're changing the hospital reimbursement rate as well. So what is going to happen, do you think, to those communities that already don't have enough doctors and may have a hospital that's just been hanging on the thread? Hospitals are going to close. They're not going to be able. See, one of the problems before Medicaid expansion was so many people were using the ER for their primary care because they couldn't go to a doctor because they didn't have insurance. ER costs are horrific as it is. I mean, I would like to go down the list and say, no, you don't have to charge $2,500 for that CT scan. But there it is. So now the people that had started to go to primary care because they had Medicaid are going to end up going back to the ER again. And there's a law, it's called EMTALA, which says that if somebody presents to the emergency department of a hospital, they cannot be refused coverage, whether they have the ability to pay or not. And so hospitals are going to start to eat that as well as getting lower reimbursement from the state. Still not looking any better, is it? And so the consequences are, like I said, clinic closures, provider shortages. Some of the, single providers, PCP, working by himself in the office, he can't keep up. Some have already shut their doors, and there will be more. And so overall, there's going to be decreased patient access, especially in rural communities. And so now we have a call to action. What can we do with the health systems that fail us? And you can go up to, keep going past that. We're done talking about, no, we're not. Okay, you know what? I don't need that. They're cute. It looks good. But call to action. Addressing these challenges requires proactive advocacy, support for rural healthcare infrastructure, and community-driven policy reforms to ensure sustainable and equitable healthcare access. How do we advocate? It's going to take a sustained effort to secure sufficient Medicaid funding, and that is really critical to maintaining provider networks, expanding services, and improving care quality for vulnerable populations. We need to support our rural clinics. I know that, clinics and hospitals. Almost everybody in the community where they live don't think that the clinic in their area is any good. They don't think the hospital where they live is any good. You hear the worst reports about people that live within a 3-block radius of a doctor's office or a clinic or a hospital. I remember even when I lived in Philadelphia, I lived walking distance from Frankfurt Hospital. And everybody that lived near Frankfurt Hospital said, if I get shot, he was Philly, y'all. Yeah. If I get shot, don't take me to Frankfurt Hospital. Take me someplace else. Well, I had to go to Frankfurt Hospital, or take my late husband to Frankfurt Hospital, and he received wonderful care. And I didn't understand what was going on. And I began to kind of do some personal research on hospitals and the communities that surround them. You see, the local hospital is the closest hospital to you. And when you get sick, that's normally the one you go to. And when uncle, cousin, aunt, grandma die, they usually die in that local hospital. Never mind it was their time to go. Never mind that they had stage 4 inoperable cancer and you knew that they were going to die. They died in that hospital. And so that hospital is not your favorite place to move. Well, we need to support our local hospitals regardless of our feeling, because when they go away, then we really have a problem. The people that can complain about what's now ECU Health North Hospital in Roanoke Rapids, they say, well, if I get really sick, take me to UNC Nash. And I'm like, you might not make it to Nash. So would you rather go to this hospital where they're going to look at you? And it's an acute care facility. They know that their job is to look at it, see if they can fix it, patch you up. If they can't, ship you out someplace else. But you getting in a car and driving someplace and you die halfway there is not helpful to anyone. And so we need to support our local hospitals. And I'll tell you something about me. I recently received a breast cancer diagnosis. And I was told, don't go to ECU Health North, because what's going to happen when you get there is you're going to go and get these tests, and then an old white man is going to give you a biopsy. An old white man going to tell you got to cut your breast off. And I said, I don't know. I used to work for that hospital. I'm going to go check it out. Things have changed. It's improved. So I got there, and I saw my usual PCP who sent me for the mammogram. And then when they saw something on the mammogram, they said, you need to get a biopsy. So I went to get the biopsy. Well, before I even went for the biopsy, they sent me to a general surgeon. Beautiful young Black woman, 38 years old. Her specialty is breast cancer. I was like, didn't know she was here. Then she sent me for the biopsy. I went in and I saw the usual technicians, the ones who had done the mammogram and the ultrasound before. In walks another beautiful black sister. She said, you know, they did an ultrasound to look for, see if there were any lymph node involvement in your armpits. She said, I'm going to check it out for myself. I got to be sure. I was like, yes. I just say all that to say, don't listen to what the naysayers say. Find out for yourself. So I started posting on Facebook about my journey and about, look, did you know she was here? Did you know she was here? And I hope that helps somebody. Yeah. Because we need to support what's in our community so that we can keep what's in our community. And so some other action steps. There are some community-driven solutions. Like we know that it's hard to get mental health care. Our hospital, again, ECU Health North, had to close the Woodside mental health unit. And we all thought it was because ECU was opening up a mental health facility in Greenville, and that's like the feeder for all of their hospitals in their system. Well, that wasn't the reason they closed ours. The reason they closed ours is we cannot find a psychiatrist that wants to stay in the area and work in the hospital.
I'm tired.
So if you don't have a psychiatrist to run the program, you can't have a program. It took me going to the president, to the CEO of the hospital, and getting up in his face. What were you thinking when you closed down the 4th floor? And then he told me, and I said, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Thank you for explaining that to me. And so now I have to let my community, but does that make it any easier for us? No. Because the one way to get to the hospital in Greenville is if you're IVC'd and they're taking you in the back of a police car. But what about your family members coming to see you who don't have transportation? We've got a problem there. You might be getting the treatment, but part of treatment for people with illnesses is family support. And if they can't get their family support, then what? And so some things that we are trying to do, and I'm off script now because you only gave me so many minutes, and I'm going to get to the good stuff. So your president heard me talking about some of this stuff on a NAACP town hall, where we had each region discuss the important things in their region. And one of our topics was healthcare and what to do with this. And so some recommendations that I have given and things that we're going to try to do is we are going to try to develop a community health initiative. And we're focusing with our NAACP branch, we're focusing on mental health because that's the real heavy hitter. We've had this year 3 deaths because of mental illness. In one case, a young man who suffered from mental illness attacked his brother, and his brother had to defend himself and protect his child and killed the brother with a mental illness. Their mother had gone many times to ask to have her son IVC, went to the magistrate's office, did all kinds, everything she could, right? Nothing happened. So now she's got one dead son, and she's got another son. I don't know the outcome of that case. It should have been self-defense. Our second one, very close. Well, they both. She's a member of our church, the mother. In another case, a couple that lived walking distance from my house, his nephew, who suffered from mental illness, brutally murdered them both in their front yard. Family has advocated for him to get mental health treatment. You know, once people become a certain age and they tell you, well, I feel better, I'm not going, you can't force them to go. Mm-hmm. And so what happened was he was off his meds for a very long time. He had made threats. He told them that he wanted to kill them, and then he did. And there was nothing we could do about it. But what can we do before we get to that as a community? And so we are working on a program that has several steps. One, educate, educate, educate. Like I'm talking to you today, we need to have people that are willing to talk to people. Like, you know, we understand you have been traumatized. Like I said earlier, being Black in America is a traumatic experience. I want to have town hall meetings. I want to have trauma and resilience discussions to let us all understand that we understand because we've been through some of the same stuff, right? I have located one or two licensed clinical social workers who are willing to give free counseling. One woman, she does it in Rocky Mountain, said she will come our way. 8 free sessions just to get somebody started. Also, we are going to have a ride share service so that people that need transportation to medical appointments or mental health appointments can get a ride. ECU, keep singing their praises. They have a program called Heal Thy Neighbor. And in the Heal Thy Neighbor program, they do a couple of things. One is after a wellness survey is done by congregations, because they're working with churches, your congregation does a wellness survey, and then they find the top priorities for your congregation. And then they do health screenings surrounding those top priorities. And then they will come and they will do trainings, health fairs, provide resources, and then you will receive assessments periodically to see how you're doing. You know, get some healthy eating demonstrations, maybe some cooking demonstrations, healthy activity, maybe some exercise classes. Before COVID, we had Zumba classes at our church. Things like that. And exercise, it'll help you burn off calories, lose weight, and also those endorphins get going. That feel-good stuff in your brain, when you're exercising, you get that too. That's why some people get addicted to exercise. Don't be addicted to something, make it exercise. So those are the kinds of things that can be done. Right now, and I'll give a plug for the NAACP. How many people here are members of an NAACP?
Life full of paid.
All right. Lifetime. It just tells a hand. The NAACP has what's called a build grant now. And the build grant is addressing the 5 pillars. Health and wellness is one of them. I know economic development, civic engagement. I forget what the other 2 are. $10,000 to $25,000. Branches can apply. Your executive committee has to meet and discuss it and agree to do it. And that has to be in notes because that will be uploaded on the grant application. I highly recommend if you're trying to think of a project for your community, whether it's health related or whatever your community needs, I strongly suggest that you look into that. It's the Village Grant, and if you go to the naacp.org website, you can find it. But there are things that we can do. You see, there was a time before all of this, you know, back when people were still going out there and getting the herbs out the yard and they were, you know, drinking castor oil and all that other nasty stuff. There was a time when we looked out for each other. And we have gotten to a place where we done got educated. We got a house that we own, we drive nice cars. We have bought into the American dream, but the American dream did not buy into us. And so we need to get back to community and start thinking of ways to help each other instead of looking down our noses at those that are less than. Because I got news for you. Those billionaires, those oligarchs, I don't care how much money. I make 6 figures, but they looking at me like dirt on the bottom of their shoe. It's time out for that. We got to help us because nobody else is coming to save us.
No, that's right.
Any questions for me, Matt?
Yes,
I just want to say that and you know, it's every county and every week represents you. And here you go. When we talk about assets, right?
Pick up a little loud so people hear you online.
Oh, when we talk about assets, you know, where's the money to be able to do things like this, right? Especially around mental health. Every county in the state of North Carolina now has a pool of money from the opioid settlement, right? Yeah. Berkeley County right now has over $400,000 just sitting there. And we just signed off on 3 other settlements 2 weeks ago, the last commissioner's meeting. So we have a pool of money that's going to be here for about 15, 16 years every single year. And we get to decide, this county, how that money is spent, right? It's important that we get that message out and make sure that the community is involved in deciding how that money is spent. A lot of communities are thinking, well, let's get to the Boys and Girls Club. They're great, but it doesn't really get to what it was meant to be, right? So I want to say to folks in Berkeley County, even though there's going to be a structure about how this money is spent, so there'll be some community, sessions and stuff like that. We got to attend it. We got to make sure that that money is spent the way we think it ought to be spent, right? And I'll just give a little kudos to this county. Great, we're small county, 18,000 people, right? But we're unique in a lot of ways. We're the largest minority community in the state of North Carolina. But we have a Vitamin Hospital right here in the community. You know how we got it? Because the citizens built it. You guys paid for that, and we leased it to Vitamin. Vitamin didn't build that hospital. You built that hospital, right? You don't know that. We have 3 health centers in this little town. Lewiston, Coleraine, and Orlando, right? Get ready to have and health services in those 3 places, right? When Medicaid expanded, this county had the 2nd highest acceptance against their goal for people who qualify. Because we talked about, the importance of it. When the governor came to announce liquidity cut, in the Virgin County, right? So I'm just saying to you, we have some things to be proud of, right? But there's a whole lot to be done. Whole lot to be done. And this will pull of money. Well, so we got to make sure we use it in the right way. In the right way. You know what I'm saying? And Medicaid expansion, as good as it has been, understand how that legislation is passed. The president's big, beautiful bill, right? And the way our legislators wrote our Medicaid expansion says, if the government's portion goes below 90%, it goes away. You know what I'm saying to you? That the people who are enrolled on Medicaid expansion in North Carolina, if that federal bill says that the portion that Fed pay goes below 90%, North Carolina says it goes away. Right? Now the state could pick up the difference. But where's the state money now? It's going to the western part of the state. Good. Right? Great thing. I'm telling you, we could lose Medicaid here in this state. That's not an impossibility. I think we have what, 600,000 people. Since 652, this is people who work who are now getting Medicaid because they couldn't get where they want to, whatever. And it's not even being talked about forcing the state to pick up that difference, different factors.
September 22nd, they will be back in session. Forgot about that part. That was supposed to be on the slides that I told you not to look at. But anyway, on September 22nd, the North Carolina General Assembly will be back in session. Starting Monday, people need to start calling them and telling them that they need to fund that shortfall with Medicaid. When they passed that mini budget, it did not address it. We need it to be addressed. Some people are going to lose Medicaid. Another reason that people might lose Medicaid, the work requirements affecting Medicaid and SNAP benefits. People are supposed to work 80 hours or volunteer or be in school. One of the things the programs I said about community helping each other, if we can set up, if nonprofits can get people to volunteer for them 80 hours a month, then they can help them keep their benefits. And the things that they can have these volunteers do is to be educating other people. Medicaid and SNAP navigators don't have to be professionals. They can be volunteers that can help people with their applications and remind them that now you have to apply every 6 months. I'm done.
Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much. Now, Commissioner Weston, I know he's not, but mentioned The opiate, next month at our meeting, we're going to have the sheriff from Edgecombe Capital to talk to us about that funding that's coming each of our counties. And we said he got to attend those meetings to make sure we have a partner about that money spent.
Not the sheriff, it's the Edgecombe County Emergency Management, the guy that does that.
Okay.
That's what his job is. Okay.
Okay,
But
we
he
got
goes
that
all
on the agenda for next month. And I'm not gonna give her a long introduction there. This is one of my church members. I know her since she was a little girl. She works with Agape, health center, health services. And with all of this time in the health care message, she's gonna finish us off. And I'm sorry, we're fishing.
Oh, that's fine.
But,
I'm gonna try not to go over, hi everybody again. I'm gonna try not to go over what we already talked about in general. So it's fine. And he mainly wanted me to talk about what it was gonna, the impacts that it was gonna cause to rural health. Again, she mentioned the ER visits is gonna cause so much damage to our rural small hospitals and our rural health centers. We currently gonna have those obstacles where then the county gonna have to pick up the bill. Somebody gonna have to pay for it. Like again, I told them 652 million people that we had covered under Medicaid is now gonna have to go every 6 months to apply. How they gonna get there? It's not gonna be an annual reapplying where they reauthorize and they already approved. They now gonna have to go in the office, provide all this documentation to get recertified. And that's every 6 months. Even kids in SNAP is gonna be charged with having to do this every 6 months. And these, parents can't get off, they can't take off. They're not gonna be able to get in and out of these, offices and sit there and wait for somebody in social service to go over the application and say, you left on your electric bill, you gotta come back. It's gonna cause a lot of barriers to our citizens in the small towns. Again, they're gonna, all these cuts to Medicaid, again, is gonna cause a reduction in like financial force, because people are gonna be missing work. People are not gonna be able to go. In case there are individuals reapplying every 6 months, it's gonna cause a lot of problems, because now if you're not working, you're gonna have to, like she said, do a volunteer, you're gonna have to go volunteer somewhere. Where you gonna volunteer? Because now you gotta have transportation to get there. Now you gotta be able to get your kids Medicaid, but you can't because you gotta go here or school, volunteer. It's gonna cause a lot of barriers. To the rural health centers in 27, you'll see most of those cuts. And so right now, we're not sure how much of a cut it's gonna be for rural health because we are federally funded and we also state and county. So we'll see then when those cuts and what it's gonna cost. We currently work on sliding fee scales, which now they can still come, but you gotta come up with $25. You can't keep building up a bill and say, well, I'm gonna go to that bank. Yeah, we can't, we gotta see you walking in the door. But then you're gonna have the city financial council who's gonna beat you over the head about when you're gonna pay this $50, when you're gonna pay $75. And then people are gonna get discouraged and go back to the ER, which is gonna cost the county. So it's gonna be a lot of that. I'm just filling it out quick because we already know a lot of this. So that we won't have to actually go over this stuff over and over. So it's gonna be a lot of SNAP, which is our kids, lunch programs at school. I mean, all those things are gonna cause a lot of damage to our North Carolina kids and citizens, adults, and quickly, any questions anybody have for me that I can clear up? In that thing, yes.
I know
Yes,
it's,
sir.
we at one time tried to get a doctor here. You guys were running Williams.
And William, yes, sir.
But you were opening another one in Bolton County out in, where is it?
We are located in Plymouth. We are located in Williamston. We got 2 medical centers, medical in Washington, and then administrative buildings in Washington. We have our mobile unit going to Aurora because we actually doing that building. So until we get in, we think in February, we have our mobile unit go twice a week.
What's another place out by,
We got orthopedics in Williamston. We have an orthopedic building.
I say this, it's over there, where's it, out in? There's a big plant up there, right, where they, this town,
Will they do mining for?
That's all, that's all. Yeah, get down there. Yes, yes. So February, hopefully the doors are open to that facility. We actually redoing the medical center that was there. So, and there was a lot of changes. It's not wheelchair accessible, the buildings, the bathrooms gotta be redone, and the building itself needs a bunch of work.
They need a lot of help like that.
Yes. So hopefully, we be there and open. But right now, we go with the mobile building. So we have our mobile building, they know, we have a mobile building that does everything that we do within our office. There's one patient at a time. Yes. Any other questions anybody may have? No.
And to tell you how you have to be active in your community, when the government was trying to get into Washington County, our board of commissioners tabled. And I was sitting there saying, I can't believe they're gonna table something like this. So we got a group of people to go to the next meeting. And had to say, this is too important. Our hospital went through a process of closing. We were fortunate that it reopened. And, sometimes you just have to, the folks sometimes will look like us. They're just not looking at everything thoroughly. And we had to go to them and say, no, this is something our community needs. Because we've got so many people that are not here yet. And so, everything that we've heard today, we've got to get out of this building. Every meeting that we've had lately, I've said, man, this was a good meeting. I will go home today saying, man, this was a great meeting. The information that's been spilled today. We thank all the presenters.
We're in election period right now for a lot of positions, right? You need to have every person running for office representing us where they stand on issues like Medicaid expansion, where they stand on things like rural health funding or all kinds of things, right? We got to get them now on the record, right? People need to know what they're really saying. A lot of times we don't know. We both go to there and find out later.
Right. So in my closing remark, before we get the adjournment, so October the 11th at the Omni Structure Property. The address is 600 North Smithwick Street in Williamson, the old Williamson Junior High School. That's going to be when we have our next meeting, and our next meeting is going to be around the opioid funding and political. We will be inviting all Democrat candidates and elected officials to that meeting. Brother Weston, we might want you to help us with questions that we can present to them. And then in November, we're gonna invite the Republican Party. I doubt they're gonna accept, but we're going to invite them as well.
Yes.
And that will also be the second Saturday of the month. We always meet the second Saturday of the month. So in November, it's gonna be around political, and November is gonna also be around the political scene. And then in December, we will be having our annual Christmas dance. So we will keep you all in touch. We hope to see those of you that we've not seen before. We hope to see you again at some of our meetings, because this is the kind of information that we do put out. Is there anything else to come before?
What was January? Didn't we think?
Oh, January is going to be around education. You all saw the report where our school systems are ranked. So in January, we're going to be inviting the preachers, the pastoral association, and educators to that meeting in January, the second Saturday, January the 9th, I believe. And we're going to ask them, what can we, as a community, do to help you get our kids to increase their proficiency? Yes, sir. Okay. All right. If there's nothing else, we will.
I have, if I could, really quickly, couple of things of note. Berkeley County is having our Democratic meeting Monday at the Hive in Windsor, for anybody who can make it. Number two, I work with Roanoke Cooperative. I've never personally attended a meeting. I have attended virtually with you before. But I want to kind of put that all on again. I teach digital literacy in our community to our seniors. How to log on, manage health information online. I have business cards. I'd love to leave them for anybody who's interested. I will come in the churches. I will come in community centers, the senior centers. I can do Bertie, Hertford, Gates, Northampton, and Hertford counties only. I don't have permission to go anywhere else, but I love to share what I do, and anybody is welcome. And then finally, next month, Roanoke Cooperative is putting on a Clean Energy Expo in Petoskey at the amphitheater. All are welcome, completely free. I would love to share information about that as well.
Okay. All right. Yes, Ms. Smith.
I do apologize for getting in late, but did you all mention new officers?
Thank you. Thank you. Good. Make that a note.
No, I'll let you do that.
But according to our bylaws, we have to have an election. So if there's anyone that is interested in one of our positions, that is president, first vice, second vice, Mo Matthews, third vice, Ms. Smith, our recording secretary, Ms. Shaw, Secretary Mary Selby, and the treasurer. Those positions are open, and we will be happy. If anyone is interested, you can email Carl Bond, that's ckbond@gmail.com.
61, carlbond61@gmail.com.
And Ms. Sharp, what's your email address?
J Sharp41, 21550 @gmail.
Okay.
Y'all got mine.
All right. Email those people or be to our October meeting, and we will have the election, and you can get your name nominated from the floor. We will take nominations from the floor. All right. Thank you. Nothing else. The chair will accept the motion to adjourn.
Mr. President, I'm moving with enjoying the meeting at this time.
Is there a second?
Second.
Question. All those in favor of the motion, vote aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Let's
Oh,
adjourn.
I
Thank
can't
you.
be you, we have to one another.
Thank you. I'm saying that.
Going back to the end, okay, so.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Yes, ma'am.